Hey everybody, it is Clint. Welcome to Sweetcast. I want to talk to you about Ethan Van Sciver's announcement. This was kind of an announcement that has been foisted upon him a couple times over. And you know, I don't know. I haven't talked to him about it personally. I don't think that it matters if, it's true, so might as well go for it. And I think that's been kind of what he's doing. He's just going for it. So if you didn't know about this, first off, I'm going to look over at Bleeding Cool. Bleeding Cool has this article out. This is the first official article that I've seen from anywhere. Came from Bleeding Cool. I haven't seen anything from Dynamite themselves, or technically, Ethan said something in passing on a live stream, but he didn't really make sort of a formal announcement, I guess. I would say it was official because Ethan said something, but it wasn't formal. But Bleeding Cool has made it official and formal by posting this article. So Ethan Van Sciver commissions retailer exclusive Dynamite crossover covers with Cyberfrog, beginning with Vampirella. Okay, this article kills me. One thing is the headline here. Okay, and I gotta say, I have a theory here. So I did the live stream and I said, Rich Johnston, are you watching my live stream? I don't know if he was or not, but this kind of confirms my suspicion that Rich watches my channel, which is cool. Keep watching the channel. I would still actually like to have a live conversation with you, not a debate, a conversation. We disagree on a lot of things, so that is an open invitation if you would like to have a discussion. Okay, so he wrote this article, and he made sure to say that Ethan Van Sciver is commissioning Dynamite in order to do this, and so it's not that he's doing covers with Dynamite characters or for Dynamite. He's commissioned Dynamite. He's commissioned himself essentially to do Dynamite comics. So again, this is semantics, but it's just funny that that's the message that has to come across, even though it's a really, really clunky headline. All right, so I'm going to get on to that article and look at some of the stuff in it. But you have to know that there's a reaction. Again, I did that live stream on conservative-friendly publishers. That was the title of it. Again, I don't think it really has anything to do with conservative or liberal or moderate. It has to do with if you're not in agreement with activists. If you let activists like this control how the industry works, who's allowed to get published and who's not allowed to get published, then that's not a world that I want to live in. That's not an industry I want to work in. So we'll build our own. But this kind of thing always gets me fired up. That's what got me into this in the first place, is somebody else deciding who is allowed to be published and who is not allowed to be published. If two people have a business contract, a consensual business relationship, that is their business. They can do business. I'm not saying you have to purchase from them. That's fine. You can buy whatever you want. But you don't get to decide who people do business with. You don't get to decide. You don't get to be the third party that decides what two other people are doing. Okay, so he feeds this right to SJW Spider-Man. Again, same kind of thing, even though this is not at all how Ethan explained it. I understand how it works, but they're just really trying to make it sound as negative as possible. SJW Spider-Man says, looks like Ethan Van Sciver has paid to have Cyberfrog on Vampirella books. Regardless of optics, this is Dynamite Comics giving a hate monger a platform along with Comicsgate. I hope the creator of the interior pages makes a stand. As of now, I will stop supporting Dynamite. Okay, Dynamite Comics, don't fall for it. You see what happens if you fall for it. Don't do it. Don't listen to him. It's very unlikely. Do you really think that this guy is buying Vampirella books? An extreme activist, SJW activist, that in fact calls himself SJW Spider-Man. Do you think that he's really buying Dynamite titles, despite the misogyny and everything else he'd have a problem with? I don't think so. Okay, another thing is Dynamite Comics is not giving Ethan Van Sciver a platform. Ethan Van Sciver has a platform, and he's going to be selling Dynamite comics with his platform. Now, I made this point later down in this thread, and that's why my mentions are kind of going through the roof. I just gave up trying to keep up on them. But it's true. If you think that they're publishing Ethan's book, I mean, as far as I know, this is just about covers. This is not about them publishing Ethan's book or publishing Cyberfrog. I mean, that would be awesome if they did. Don't get me wrong. And they have every right to do it if they wanted to. But the news right now is that he is selling their books with his artwork on his platform. So this is why this deplatform thing is such a weird rhetoric piece, because it's one of those words you can make mean anything. You can call anything a platform, therefore you have the right to deplatform them. It's weird. This is insane activism, and this should not be controlling what businesses do. It should not be controlling, especially an entertainment business. This is crazy, and Dynamite Comics, stay strong. Do not listen to the 12 crazy people that want you to bow to their wills. All right, so let's look into this Bleeding Cool article. Back in the day, retailers used to commission star comic creators to draw a cover for an upcoming comic book, usually for DC or Marvel. Okay, so he's just explaining, like, it used to be retailers, and then a couple entrepreneurial artists decided they could do the same thing and commissioned themselves to do a cover and then sell those books in a store. And one of those people, or not in a store, at a convention, one of those people is John Tyler Christopher. I met John Tyler Christopher at a convention at Salt Lake Comic Con, and I talked to him, I don't know, it was like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, something like that. Really cool guy. And one of the big things that he told me is that too many artists say that they are going to be a starving artist. Like, you choose between doing art or making money. And he told me that he did not buy into that, and he was going to find a way to make money and make art, and he was very successful at that. That got a lot of respect from me. He was also a cool guy and an amazing artist. I bought a print from him. If he had a comic book there that he had done a special cover for, a variant cover for, I probably would have bought that from him as well. So it's annoying to me that the way that some people think that if something was intended, for comic shops to do it this way, and then, some enterprising artists realized they could commission themselves to draw cover. Like they say, like, if it wasn't intended that way, to be used that way, then it's bad to be used that way. This meets all the criteria of helping creators out, of helping the publisher out, sells books, and if customers want it, it's actually not hurting shops whatsoever because they're able to just buy it at a convention. It's something unique and special, and there's nothing wrong with this. Okay, so he goes on that Dynamite asks for fewer copies. They want it to be collectible, limited run. Again, I don't see what's wrong with that. It doesn't matter. The latest, it seems, is Ethan Van Sciver. He's doing the same thing. No longer working for major comic publishers and fresh from, I think that's funny. No longer working for major publishers. How do you know? Really, how do you know? This could also change any moment. I used to think that he for sure was blacklisted forever. I'm beginning to believe that things are changing in the industry, and it wouldn't surprise me at all, actually, now. I think things have changed a lot, and they're going to be changing even more. So it wouldn't surprise me if, that something would happen there. His success from last, Cyberfrog, the comic is yet to be published, period. Okay, yeah. I get that. I think everyone knows it's been yet to be published. Sounds like it's going to be done pretty soon, though. We're getting updates. And, I get it. I backed Cyberfrog. I really want my copy. I get it. I want to be on time on my book. I'll say that. But I also, I am biased. I like Ethan. So, we'll leave it at that, I guess. He's biased. He doesn't like Ethan. So, I guess that's fair. Okay, so Ethan's now commissioning himself to draw Cyberfrog variant covers to Dynamite Entertainment tiles, showing his Cyberfrog amphibian interaction. Okay, so another thing this does is actually bring people, customers that like Ethan Van Sciver and buy his comic and it sends them to buy, in this case, Vampirella comics. And if you're buying a Vampirella comic, you might be interested in buying more titles from them, perhaps. Now, time will tell. I have a feeling that they're not going to bend the knee because we see what happens when you do that. I'm assuming that they've had a lot of time to think about this. They know what they're doing. So I'm going to trust that Dynamite is going to stick to their guns. That would be a smart thing to do. Please, Dynamite, stick to your guns. Okay, so he continues. Traditionally, creators who purchase the comic are treated the same way as any retailer. Whether the creator of any of those books will have any say in who gets to do retail exclusive variant covers of their books, I don't know. Yeah, so he is basically insinuating, and Rich, tell me if you're not. Okay, I would love to have this discussion. You're insinuating that those interior artists have no say on the fact that he's going to be doing their cover. And that kind of suggestion, of course, leads somebody like this, an extreme activist, to point out that those creators, he wants those creators for the interior pages to take a stand. What if they're not interested in being activists in this kind of a war, huh? What if they're not? Okay, this is where it gets disgusting to me. But basically that means Ethan Van Sciver has bought hundreds of copies of the same comic with a cover he drew for a wholesale price that retailers pay, maybe around $2 each, and gets to sell them at quite a markup. Well, it's one way to get a Cyberfrog comic out there for convention season. Draw the character. Okay. Yeah. I will tell you, I hope Cyberfrog comes out in July like he says it's going to. He's on the last page, for crying out loud. We've seen the pages, but I get it though. I want my copy too. If you want your copy, it's not on time. I'm not making excuses. It's not my book. So I get it. I do think it's funny though that the article, the whole point of the story is, this was supposed to be the point of the story, but it's always a hidden dig. So yeah, it should be no surprise. Anyway, I don't know where all the future is going to take. I'm kind of excited about this because I feel like this is a sign that the industry is changing a little bit. They're realizing that these activists are going to make a big stink for a short period of time and then roll over. They're also realizing that they're not buying your books anyway. They're not. You really think this guy is buying a Vampirella book? I highly doubt that, really. So stick to your guns. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't backed it yet, Downcast, you're like seriously running out of time. It says 2 days left. By the time you watch this, it might only be 1 day left. So you got to hop on it. This has been a huge success. I got to say thank you so much to everybody who's backed this. I think I'm going to need to do just a thank you stream. Seriously. I sit back and think about it sometimes. I'm just amazed at all the support. I couldn't have done this without you, literally. You guys are the ones that did this, so thank you very much. And yeah, it's not too late to back it. If you haven't yet, get in there. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.